Joining me now is Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Director, thanks very much for being here this morning. I want you to explain what has taken place here, because based on those comments that we just saw from those Democrats, it feels like the Democrats lit the match, and now they're trying to attack the agents who are doing their job. I mean, let's face it. These Democrats oversaw a wide-open border where some criminals came in. 350 people on the terrorist watch list were encountered under Biden's years. And then they told citizens to get in the faces of ICE. When ICE reacted, now they're attacking ICE for doing their job. What is taking place here? Please tell us.
Hey, Maria, thanks for having me. So you're 100% right. So we started seeing this back in April, and I sent up the flare and started asking, elected officials not to stoke such dangerous rhetoric about ICE. And now exactly, you are seeing exactly what you just said. You're seeing attacks on ICE officers and our other federal partners for only going out there and doing their law enforcement mission. We went to Minnesota on that criminal fraud case, over $9 billion that, Homeland Security investigations and the FBI were investigating. At the same time, we had more than 470 criminally illegal aliens this year alone since President Trump took office, re-released back into the communities. So we were out there focused on getting the worst of the worst. And if you look at our social media sites and see our press releases, you'll see consistently ICE agents and deportation officers have arrested murderers, gang members, serial rapists, people wanted from their home country for heinous crimes. Yet, unfortunately, you don't hear that. We're automatically assuming from elected officials that ICE is out there doing something wrong. And it's horrible for the fact that people say that ICE is now targeting U.S. citizens. That's not the case. We have to send more officers and agents just to protect the men and women that are out there trying to do their regular, lawful law enforcement mission.
Is there a better way for you to communicate your priorities? In other words, that priority is taking down criminals in this country who are committing crime, who first committed the first crime of illegally coming into the country, but then have gone on to commit other crimes? Because the narrative that the Democrats are sending out there is that ICE is going down, breaking up families, taking people who are working hard, having people be afraid to go to work. Tell us your priorities, and can you prove to us that, in fact, your ICE agents are out there taking down criminality?
100%, Maria. If you go ahead and you look at what we've done since January 20th, 70% of all illegal aliens that ICE has arrested last year and going into this calendar year have criminal convictions or pending criminal charges or warrants or criminal histories back in their home country. And, we've been focused on those that have been lawfully ordered deported by an immigration judge who failed to leave. So there's about 1.5 billion individuals in the country that have been legally and lawfully ordered deported or removed from this country by a federal judge. Unfortunately, as much press as we do, as many releases as we put out, no one will pick up the fact that we are actually out there focused on our law enforcement mission. And the one thing we say all the time is, these sanctuary jurisdictions, you would not see this many ICE agents and special agents on the street focused on the criminally illegal alien mission if they would just turn people over to us. That's the key. Right. These local law enforcement agencies have already deemed these individuals a public safety threat and arrested them. Why not work with federal partners, turn them over to us, and let us get them out of our communities?
Well, I mean, I'm wondering if all of these attacks on our ICE agents have changed the way these agents are doing their job. What can you tell us about that? Is this stopping ICE agents or changing the way they're doing their jobs in any way, because they're worried that they're going to be under attack when they get in the middle of a situation?
Maria, you're right in the fact that it does change the mindset of the men and women of ICE. But that's why we have to provide them so much support. You hear about the 3,000 federal officers and special agents that deployed to Minneapolis. Majority of those, if not most, are to protect the men and women that are out there trying to make those arrests. And that has definitely changed our tactics. Where we would go and have 5 to 6 officers on an arrest team, now you have to go with 10 to 15 just to protect those individuals that are trying to arrest a bad guy. In my 30 years of law enforcement, I never thought we would have to send law enforcement to protect law enforcement. But I don't think you'd see as many of the issues if political leaders were allowed their local and state law enforcement to work with us.
Great point.
It's never a public safety issue to pit law enforcement against each other.
Of course. Really great point. Todd Lyons, thanks very much for being here with us. ICE Director Todd Lyons this morning.